People always ask how I balance my family life with 400 shows a year. I'm just doing what I love with the people I love. It's my magic life.
I like Wes Iseli. I like everything about him.
All right, we have a legend in magic today, and I throw that word around a lot, a legend in magic. This guy worked any kind of venue you can imagine, trade shows. He worked the bars, he worked restaurants, he worked theme parks. I think theme parks.
Cruise ships.
Cruise ships.
Yeah.
This guy even had his
I had a TV show.
He had his own TV show. This is Steve Hart. We've already gotten off the bat here, just pre-show here, just talking to him. I've already fallen in love with the guy. I've only known him from social media and seeing some stuff with him. Everybody, it's Steve Hart. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Howdy.
Dude, I am so excited today. I was looking at one of your lectures. I'm taking notes of all the things you had done. And I didn't know about the cruise ship work. Where'd you work in cruise ships?
Well, what happened was I had I got the TV show first in Indiana. I'm from Indiana. I'm a Hoosier. And our TV show dominated the market out of Indianapolis. And so I became popular, sort of became a celebrity. And some people found out about me that was on a cruise ship down here called the Big Red Boat. And that was the prelude to the Disney ship. It was originally the Disney ship, and then they decided they're going to build their own. And so when I was working on the ship, it was the Looney Tunes. So I would entertain the children during the day and then the adults in the evening on the cruise ship. But I was only the part-time magician. It was not a full-time thing for me. But it was a great experience, and I loved it. But I got my good taste of Florida, so I decided after a while I was going to buy a house down here, and I did. I thought I'd go back and forth to Indiana, and then I never went back. I went back, sold my house, and I've been here for 24 years now. So I love Florida.
What part of Florida do you live in?
I live over by the Space Center where the cruise ship. Cape Canaveral is the largest cruise ship port in the United States, believe it or not. And it's amazing to go watch it. But that's not my thing anymore. I like to sleep in my own bed now. And like I say, it was a lot of fun doing that during that period. You learn a lot, and I have a lot of stories to tell about those experiences. And then it was a very long after that before I was invited to work at the Magic Castle, and because people, the word gets around, and so forth. But I've been so blessed. Magic's been very good to me, and I've never claimed to want to be famous. I just wanted to enjoy it and do what I did, what I do. And I did do it, and I'm still doing it,
It's funny, the fame thing anyway, because, I've become friends with Penn Jillette. And he's like, it's just Penn. To him, it's just him. To me, it's every time I see him, I'm in shock. That's celebrity my whole life. And then it's just, I'm talking like you. It's just another guy. Famous.
That's right.
Anyway, But, we're all just so lucky to be able to do this for a living. This is all we want to kid. So how far are you from Orlando?
I'm close to Orlando. I'm within an hour. So my market is Orlando. I go up to maybe almost Daytona Beach and then down to West Palm Beach, and that's all I really travel now, unless they paid me extra, which I did a couple of weeks ago. They paid me extra money to go someplace else. I don't like traveling anymore. I used to travel all over the United States at one point when I was doing very well with at the TV show and all that. At my peak in my career, I was traveling all over, lecturing my magic clubs, and then also I got involved in the speaking industry. I was doing that for corporations and associations.
What was your theme in the speaking world?
Well, it started off. It evolved. It started off in goal setting, and then self-management, and then it got into self-discovery, personal development, and then I got to a point where they didn't want me anymore. I got to a point where my topics were not conducive for the corporate life, because I was basically telling them, you need to invest in yourself. You need to learn how to be an entrepreneur. And part of the reason I did that is because, you know what? The last part of my speaking career, I was speaking to groups of people who were losing their jobs. The corporations were letting them go. And my job was to go in there and make them feel better, which I was able to do because I was already experiencing that. But to them, it was devastating. In fact, one event I was at, they didn't tell the people they were losing their job until an hour before my show.
Oh gosh.
We've heard this story before. Christmas party. You know, hey, we're laying off. Who told us that story?
I don't remember. Was it?
Yeah, there you go. That's a good example.
Somebody said at the Christmas party, they said, hey, just to let you guys know, enjoy the party tonight. We have an open bar. We have this. And at the end of the party tonight, I just want to let you know it's Christmas time, so I don't want to. But 100 of you guys will not have jobs in the morning. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt King. It was something. I can't remember who it was.
Oh, well, the Matt King story is about a gentleman who died. Yeah.
Okay.
Right,
okay.
right.
Yeah,
They
it
made
was
the
somebody.
announcement,
Somebody. Yeah.
Out of college. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we are all over the place because we started talking to you before the Zoom thing even started. How did you get started in magic? Let's get started at the beginning. How'd you get started?
Well, for me, it was a traumatic day. And since I perform a lot for seniors now, they all remember this day. And that was November 22nd, 1963. At 11 o'clock, I was in my classroom and the intercom system came over that President Kennedy had been shot. We basically stopped school. Teachers were crying. I was afraid because Khrushchev had threatened to kill us. He said he was going to send missiles to us. And I thought that they'd killed the president and the missiles were on their way and I was going to die. And they had scheduled a magician to perform at 1 o'clock, and they went ahead and had the magician perform. And that he was gifted to the point, well, as all magicians are, it took me to another place. It took all that fear out of my heart, and I thoroughly enjoyed the show. I remember so much of that show. It's almost verbatim in my mind. At the end of the show, the fear came back. Immediately, a voice said to me, "That's what you will do." I swear, I didn't hear it audibly, but I heard it in my presence. And I went home, told my mom and dad what happened, and they bought me a magic kit for Christmas, and that's how I got started. So
Wow.
I was 10 years old at the time, and it didn't take very long before I pursued magic very strongly, even though I grew up in the cornfields of Indiana, where there were no magic shops, no magicians. I had worked on it, and by the time I was 14, I won an international award among young magicians. And then my parents didn't know what to do. They go, well, you got to get a real job, And I said, no, I want to be a professional magician. And they go, and so they, I was convinced by everybody that I needed to get a real job. So I went to college, got a real job, worked in that job for about that long. And I said, this is no fun. I went back to doing magic. And boy, my career took off. It just took right off.
Did you ever get to meet the magician again? Do you remember who it was? The magician.
Oh yeah. His name was Bob Bradley. He's known. He was a school magician during that period, and I did get to meet him twice after that. The first time I met him, I told him I was reading all the books, and he showed me a trick and showed me how it was done. And then a few years later, I ran into him again at one of the magic clubs and got my picture taken with him and all that. It was great, but he's disappeared now. I don't know where he is now. But I have several. I became an Abbott's boy. For those of you who know about the Abbott's manufacturing. Since I was in Indiana, I started off there in 1967. I was 13, 14 years of age. And that's when I began to really learn a lot from the old timers. And so I grew up around Abbott. So I learned a lot from those old timers, and I went there every year for many, many years now. And only recently have I backed off now. I don't go to conventions like I used to. I used to go to a lot of conventions. I used to serve on the executive board for the IBM, at one time. And
wow.
And then I served on the membership committee. It was my way of paying back for the fact that I was being so successful as a magician, entertainer, and yet I'm not famous. Most people don't know who I am.
Well,
but I'm doing it.
The thing about Abbott's, everybody says it's just such a family atmosphere. Everybody that does it loves it so much, like family.
It is.
It's just
it is
a weird time of year for us. We can't go.
Yeah,
right.
It's in the middle of the summer. We have all of our resort shows in the summer. It's so hard. Yeah.
I used to go to Magiclife Fest too every year in Columbus, so that was another one of the conventions I went to. So conventions are great, but like I said, now I love just sitting and in the lobby and visiting with my magic friends and hearing stories and seeing how they're doing, and because I don't need another lecture. I mean, I can appreciate and I do honor the ones who are doing it. And also I go to the contest. I used to be the judge for 8 years. I was the judge for the stage competition for the IBM. And the reward for that was those young men and women I saw in competition back in the early 2000 are now the ones that are on Fool Us, America's Got Talent. They're all doing great. One's Dan Sperry. He was my star. I mean, I remember Dan coming to me and talking about how he wanted to be, a professional magician. And I said, look, dude, here's what you do. And I told him what to do, and he did it.
Wow. Yeah, we've had Dan on the podcast. Dan, we love Dan so much.
Yeah.
On stage and off stage. He's just such an awesome guy. Yeah, Dan's awesome. So I just recently, today, was watching just to scrub up on you, because I've never met you in person. I only know you through social media and everything. But I was watching your lecture on marketing and stuff. Do you have a degree in marketing, or is that all stuff that you put together yourself?
My degree was in the medical field. And so, no, but I knew that here's what happened. I started reading books on success, and like Napoleon Hill's book on Think and Grow Rich. That was the book that really got me started. And then I started collecting books on marketing. And so I learned if you want to make a living at this, you had to learn how to market yourself. You could depend on an agency back in the early days, but today's I'm really encourage everybody to learn how to market themselves. And then you have to figure out how to do that. The main focus was in what I call position marketing, which is a whole nother, it's a different approach. And then there's mischief marketing, which is another one that I talk about sometimes. And we'll talk about that later if you want to hear more about it.
I want to hear mischief marketing for the podcast Patreon bonus. That sounds like fun. But
I'll have to get the book. I have a copy of the book here for that.
But Think and Grow Rich, you can get it on YouTube now.
And
it is Napoleon just sitting down talking to you. He has a great speaking voice. It seems like your grandpa just sitting down and giving you advice that's going to last for anybody.
Right. But you should see my copy of the book, Wes. It's all scribbled up with notes and everything, and highlighted. I still got my original book. I devoured that book.
I mean, and just the one thing that I would tell anybody is, they hire you for a show. Do above and beyond. Napoleon says it, and it's 100%. Yeah. You don't go in there and say, nope, I get off it right now. Yeah, you paid me to get off right this second. Well, I just wanted you to show my friend. The event's over. They introduce you to somebody else. I've seen so many magicians just walk out. But that's where you make or break that night there.
Yeah, but see, the secret behind that is your passion. If you don't have a passion for this, get out of the business. Because you're always going to go the extra mile if you have a passion. I had a friend of mine who was a phenomenal magician, and one day we were sitting talking, and he says, if I ever win the lottery, you know what I'm going to do? I said, what? He said, I'm going to pile up all my magic and burn it. I said, you got to be kidding me. If you really think that, and as good as he was, I was flabbergasted. I said, then go do it now. Now he's the same age as I am, and he's dead, and he's gone now.
What did I tell you if I won the lottery?
Oh, he's still gonna do just as many magic shows as he does now. Yep. He don't want to quit. I said, okay, well, that's fine. Maybe we can pick and choose more what we want, though. But
I don't want to stop working, man. I love it too much.
I give my advice to young people like yourself who are working in magicians. It's choose wisely the material you're using now, because as you get older, you're going to still want to do those effects. And if you physically can't do it, you might want to eliminate those and work down. Right now, 88% of my shows are in a catalog case this size. And if it doesn't fit in that case, it doesn't go in the show. In fact, I even took my jumbo coloring book from Danny Orleans and cut it down so it fit in my suitcase, because I use that both in my children's shows and my senior shows. I got a great routine for seniors with that I'll tell you about someday.
But it's a jumbo coloring book. It's not so jumbo anymore. It's still jumbo. I know. It's funny though.
But I think it calls it the Colosso. Whatever.
But I mean,
you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Because the first time I saw Danny perform, which is back in the 80s, he did that. He had his own one that he had where he showed the pages are all scribbled, and I thought, oh, that is so funny. And then when he finally put it out on the market, I said, I gotta have it.
So it looks like a 3-year-old just scribbled in every page. Yeah, because we sell the coloring books at our shows. But not that one. when I worked at the magic shop, you know, all the seniors would come in there. And I told you before we got on video here, all my friends are in their 80s or, you know, late 70s. And it's just who I looked up to coming up in magic. You got to think they were retired. So I'm working on the weekends, but during the work day, I can hang out with these friends and play magic with them. They didn't have a real job, right? So they're retired. And I've learned so much. But when I was at the magic shop, they were the ones that were saying, you know, pack it smaller. Don't bring that much equipment. Get into mentalism. You don't have to lug all the equipment. And I'm like, you're lazy. But I mean, I get it. As you get older, the lugging, that's the hardest part, man. It's the loading and the unloading and the going to and the from. The show is the fun part.
And the other thing is, when you're up there standing on stage, and if you're not feeling good, if you're sick, you can still pull up that routine, those lines and everything. The presentation. It's not just the props, not just the tricks. It's the repertoire that you created. And yeah, I over the years, I had the big trunks, and I started dwindling them down until finally, you know, I had a few small illusions, you know, and then next thing you know, it's in that suitcase. I'm telling you, and I can do an easy hour. I can actually do. I have a contract now where I do the same, do a show at a retirement center once a month. And somebody said to me, "Well, how do you do that? Because do you have that many shows?" I said, "Yeah, I do. I have 3 solid shows, and then by the time I recycle them, they've already forgotten or they want to see it again."
That's awesome. That's great. So, talking about, I'm all over the place because we started talking to you ahead of time, and I'm just so excited today.
That's
Sorry,
fine.
I don't know where I'm
That's
at.
fine. We're fine.
Too much caffeine, I think. Tell Natalie about the Illusions bar and restaurant that you used to
Wear
work
my
at.
monkey hat.
There you go.
I
Looking good.
make these this part. I went to Hobby Lobby, got these cheap hats, and then I put the Velcro on, or the felt on there, and made these hats. It's part of a storyline that I do. It's that I've created, you know, in my show for kids. Anyway, so you asked me about what now?
Do you have your glasses handy so Natalie can see what you're supposed to look like as a magician? Are your glasses there next to you?
Yeah, that's another thing. I wear these when I perform, and the top hat. It became sort of my brand look. And oh, these are dirty. Actually, there's nothing in there. I go like this, and so there's something into my eye. Yeah, there are no lenses in my glasses when I perform. I do wear glasses, but that's not those.
That's funny.
It's part of the look, you know. I'm the persona that I play. When you know, I play as you do. You play another character. It's not really you that's on the stage. It's just an extension of you. You know. Anyway, you were asking me about marketing. I'm something.
No, you're fine. We're all over the place, and it's fine. It's fine. I think I had too much caffeine. I blame me. Illusions Bar and Restaurant. You tell Natalie about the Illusions restaurant that you worked at. It sounds like Copperfield's thing he was trying to start. It had nothing.
It was a phenomenal experience. Chris Moore came up from Florida, had a restaurant here in Florida. He came up to Indiana, and he and Carl Andrews put together this place called Illusions. And I was lucky enough to be chosen to be one of the early magicians that started working there. And it was a fine dining restaurant. It was not, the food was grade A, and everything was beautiful about the place. And you couldn't walk in. There was a riddle for you to figure out to be able to get the door to open up so you could get in. It was hilarious. We'd have people knock on the back door going, "Are you guys open?" Because they couldn't figure out the riddle. Wow. Anyway, but people figured it out, and it was a very popular place. And then everything started growing, and next thing you know, we had people like Tom Frank and Chris Kinner and Homer Lewag and Dan Daggett, several other magicians on staff. We had like 7 magicians working there full time. And no, we didn't work there every day, every night, but we also did table magic, and then we had a lounge, and we had a small stage, and we did a lounge show. So it was a combination of both. Let me tell you. But you know, where let me just back up a little bit. But what really got me started was I took a job at the Indianapolis Union train station as an atmosphere entertainer. It was like an amusement park. And so I had to go out and perform and start my own show, and I got paid hourly plus whatever's in my hat. During those 3 years is where I got my real teeth into understanding who I was and what I was doing. So when I went to Illusions, it was easy for me to make that transition on stage and at the tables. The only thing was, we had a lot of magicians that would come to illusions because it became very popular. And I didn't like performing for magicians because I didn't do the technical stuff like Mike Close and Chris Kinner and all those guys. I wasn't quite the technician they were. But it didn't take long before the magicians were saying, we really liked your performance, and told me afterwards that they were magicians I didn't know. And then, so I got over that fear of performing for magicians and found out that my style of magic had value to it. And that's when I started lecturing. So what else about illusions? What do you want to know?
Well, no,
I was there 14 years.
Copperfield was trying to open up a restaurant like that, but this is pre-Copperfield's thing.
I remember.
And you worked with Chris Kinner and Homer Leeweg.
Right.
That's pretty awesome. So did they do stage there too, or did they only do close-up?
You talk about Chris?
And Homer, yeah.
Yeah, well, no, Homer never really performed. Homer was like the Stooge. Okay. I don't know if I'm supposed to reveal this.
I don't know. I've never seen all that stuff. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. No, Chris did say to me, he goes, I don't know if I want to go to work for Copperfield full time, because if I do, I won't be able to perform on stage, because David doesn't want other magicians performing around him, which makes sense. But he gave, once Chris won Copperfield's appreciation and brought him into the family, they gave him a spot at the intermission, and Chris would go out and do some comedy magic during intermission. But now I don't know. I don't think he does it anymore.
Yeah.
The whole show has evolved throughout the years, but they work themselves crazy. I mean, at one time he was doing like 500 shows a year or more. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I appreciate David, and I appreciate what those guys have done. I still in touch with Homer, social media. I don't talk to Chris much anymore, and he's making money.
Hey, man, he's got a family. He's got Copperfield. He's got his own family. It's hard. It's a lot.
Yeah, but you have a family. I'm amazed at your family, that the amount of shows you do. I don't know how you guys keep up and still have a relationship. And yeah, right. I'd be careful of that stuff. That stuff will burn you up inside.
All right, so no, I'm out of it today. I don't know what's going on. I've had too much caffeine, I'm sure. Tell me about your zoo experience. You used to work at a zoo as well. Was that kind of the busking type situation?
Yeah, that was during the time I was working at Union Station. At the zoo you're talking about? The Indianapolis Zoo? Yeah. What it was is it was another opportunity for me to position myself in the market. This is before I had my TV show. But see, this is all building up to my TV show. People knew me, and because I was a magician at Union Station, which at the time was the #1 tourist attraction in Indiana, because thousands of people go through every year. And eventually I owned a magic shop there. I had a magic shop. And then I got hired to work at the zoo. The only problem with the zoo was it was outside. There was no place inside. And it was hot. It was hot during the summer. So it was a tough gig, but
Wow. So tell everybody about your television show. How long did it run?
Well, what happened was I was working at the Indianapolis State Fair, Indiana State Fair, and the TV station there saw me, and they knew who I was, and the program director had this idea for the TV show, and they called me up and asked me if you wanted to do a show, and I said sure. I jumped at it, and they created what they call the Wacky Magic Cartoon Club, which was WMCC, which was their letters for their TV station. And it was perfect. We would do a little bit of magic, and then we'd go to a cartoon and do a little bit of magic, and then we had other characters. It wasn't just me. I had a couple of partners who were working with me on the show, including a clown and an artist. And it was interesting because we would go in at nighttime, like 11 o'clock, and tape the show until like 2 or 3 in the morning, because the studio time was cheap. Even though we were being paid we got paid by the TV station. It was amazing. Very rare does that happen. They didn't pay us all big bucks because we made our money off the TV appearances, making out in public. That's where we made our money. The show only ran for about a year, but and that was partly because of the fact that there was some embezzlement that went on within the company. Not my part, but then within the TV station. And and the sad thing about it was, I don't have one piece of video from that show. it breaks my heart, because what happened was between the analog to the digital, I didn't was able to keep up. So, but I have all these memories.
Have you contacted the station? Do they have anything?
They got bought up by another station, and
So
they
they
don't
wouldn't
have,
have
no, as far as I
anything?
know, they don't have them. Yeah, they don't have them. I think one of my
Wow.
partners said he had some old VHS tapes, but I'm twisting his arm to try to get me to turn them to digitalize them so I could have some memories.
Well, you give me his phone number. I'll start bugging him. I'll start calling him. You need that.
Okay.
That's part of your history. You got to have that just on file. That's so awesome.
Yeah. They're the stepping stones, and
it's so important. So important to have in your career to look back on and be proud of, man.
Let me just share a secret with you. When I lived in Indiana, people would ask me, "What do you do for a living?" I said, "I'm a magician." They go, "Oh, really? You do a trick?" Or, "Where do you perform at? I want to see your show." I got that reaction all the time in Indiana, in the Midwest. I come down here to Florida. They say, "What do you do for a living?" I said, "I'm a magician." They go, "Oh,
Yeah.
nothing." Well, I couldn't figure out why. Why did I get that response? And I figured out, I asked them, "Have you ever seen a live magic show?" And most people down here have not. We have the Magic Kingdom, we have the Magic basketball team, but the Magic was not as popular when I first came down here. So because they had not seen it, but where I lived in Indiana, we had magician at the church, reception at the schools, and everywhere there were magicians, fairs. Down here, it wasn't that popular. Now it's becoming more popular. And but I don't know how in Virginia, how you're in Virginia, right?
We still get it every day. We have our own television show. We have our own podcast. We got a whole bunch of irons in the fire. We're doing really well.
Oh, that's great. So you have your own TV show?
Yeah, but I'll tell you in a second. Hold on. But we still get it weekly.
Yeah.
Our kids would love that. Or that's for kids. It's kids entertainment. It's like, no, we do a family show. We don't do anything. But they want to pigeonhole everything into an elementary school or a daycare center is what magicians are. And it's like, no. And then if you mention the word Vegas, we do a Vegas style show. Then they start coming back at us with, well, what kind of skimpy outfits is she going to wear? Can she cover up that night? No, guys, no. I'm saying we do illusions. We do the big, it's so convoluted. It's either one or the other. There is no middle grade in Virginia. I don't understand why. Yeah.
I understand. It's just typical of the culture, It's as it was in Indiana. So what I mean by that is there's an interest. They've seen magic, but how does one become a professional magician? That's there are no courses, to teach you that, except you learn how to study marketing, as which you did. Did you have a background in marketing?
Yeah, I have a degree in marketing, but it's one of those things. There are courses, but the people that run in courses, a lot of them don't do magic.
That's right.
And it's like, what kind of stuff are you teaching? How are you teaching if you don't do it?
That's right. That's exactly right.
I did a show back in 1982. It was a big production show. Now my job is telling everybody how to get what I had in 82. Well, then why don't you just keep doing that, pal?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, that is so true. I had friends, close friends who I loved, who I admired their magic, but they couldn't make a living doing magic because they couldn't market themselves. They didn't know how to do it. And I felt so bad about that. And here I was out there making money,
Well, like I told you before we started recording, I'm an open book. I tell if somebody has a question, I did a podcast with some people over in Ireland. And they wanted me on their podcast, and I did it. And then both of them called me privately, and we talked for 2 hours, just talking marketing, talking business. I love it because I learn when I do it. It doesn't just take away my time. It's educational for me because they might ask a question. Well,
I totally agree.
Have you ever tried doing the backdoor approach with cruise ships? What is the backdoor approach? And then that's a whole nother thing you've never. You never know what you're going to get, man.
Right. Here's the thing about you tell them that they won't either believe you, or they'll never do it because they say, "Well, I can't do that," and they'll come up with all these reasons why they're not going to follow through. And only a small percentage of them are going to take your advice.
Yeah. So in your lecture, you were saying, they're in their own way. It's in your head. Your head is your biggest barrier.
Right. That
Yeah.
is true. That is true. It's positioning. That's why I said a while ago, position marketing is first positioning yourself in your own mind as to who you are and what you have to give. That's why I got into the whole thing about self-discovery. And I have tools I use to help people go through. I do coach people right now, and it's about learning how to identify the gifts, strengths, and talents within you that automatically are there. You don't have to go out there and learn them. They came with you when you came into this world. And I use a tool called the Enneagram. I use a tool called the VAC system. There are different tools in self-discovery, and they're valid. I've used them for years. And
so if somebody wants to hire you as a coach, what website do they go to hire you as a coach?
Well, I used to have a website to do that, but I'm not advertising that now, but I just took on loan last week, a new gentleman. So no, it's you contact me personally and start, because it has to be a win-win situation, relationship. I can't help everybody. I have to pick and choose who I can help. And so I have them come to me, and I offer some of the things I just described, but then I decide if we want to pursue a relationship, because I'll be honest with you, I quit charging. I don't charge for my coaching. I believe in the law of reciprocity. So if I help them out, then they can send me some money or do something else for me in exchange. I don't need. I'll take the additional income, but the point I'm making is, this is a gift. When you have a gift, that's what it is. It's a gift to be given, given away. Now, the question is, do people know how to honor the gift that you have and give you reciprocate? I don't know that everybody knows how to do that. Sometimes you have to tell them, but I can see the gears going on in your head. You're going, oh my.
Yeah.
That's a real challenge, and it is a challenge. But I tell you, that's where we're going in our society. That's where we're going, so.
Wow. All right. So can you tell Natalie and the listeners a little bit about your self-discovery work that you do? Can you just glaze over that for us? Because I think it's fascinating, because my mother-in-law told me things about myself that I never saw in myself.
Right.
But she sees it. And I'm like, I guess I do that. And I think that's so fascinating, but I don't delve into myself like that. So what is the type of work that you teach, how we can learn more about ourselves?
First, let me just tell you, I do the trick, the mirror penetration,
Okay.
that trick, So I have them pass the mirror around and look in the mirror and say, do you know who that person really is in there? Or is that just a reflection? Do you really know who that person is? Then I put it in the bag, and I use a butcher knife, and I go through and I jag it. I said, now we're going to go through the mirror, go past the looking glass and discover who you really are. And I just mentioned a while ago, your gifts, strengths, and talents, those are the major ones right there. Now, how do you find them? It's based around the personality that you've been given. There are 9 types of personalities, and then there are variations of those. And how I discovered it was I've been married 3 times, and I love all my wives, still do. But I was in between one of the marriages, and I didn't want to use astrology or weird things like that to try to find another woman. So I found this book. It's called Are You the One for Me? And it was all about Enneagram and personality types. And I started reading that and studying all of that about the Enneagram. The next thing you know, within a few months, I met another lady, and I asked her to read this book to take the assessment. And she goes, oh, the Enneagram, I'm a 7. What are you? She already knew about it. I said, how did you know that? She goes, I teach it in my corporate work. So we ended up working together in corporate work,
Wait a second. My wife just said something.
I'm a 1.
Oh, you already know?
Yeah.
What are you, Wes?
Wes,
Do you know what you are?
I did this when I started health coaching. My health coach had me take it, and so I know I'm a 1. So.
Well, now what if
Perfect.
our numbers don't match? Is that bad?
It's okay.
I don't want to do it. What if our
No.
numbers don't?
No. Let me tell
We
you.
have 3 kids. don't mess up our relationship.
No, it's not. It'll open
Okay,
it
okay.
up. It'll open up even better because you'll understand why she is compelled to do what she does.
Okay.
And when she knows what you are, it solidifies it. That it makes it so much easier. And but the first thing is you understand yourself. In the Enneagram, you have what they call stress and security. And when you're under stress, this is where you go. This is how you act out. And when you're insecure, you go in this direction. And when you know that those are your characteristics, your compulsion, then you get to decide if I'm under stress and I go this way and I start acting out this part of my personality, I have to ask myself, how long do I want to stay there? When I go, there's nothing wrong with going there because you're pulling. In my personality, I pull back. I become antisocial. I'm a very social person, but I become antisocial because I'm looking for the answers of what's stressing me. That's my personality type. Each personality type has their own stress and secure points. When I'm strong, I become the helper giver, the two, and I give myself into that. So I could talk the whole program about the Enneagram.
I'm fascinated. I don't know anything about this. I don't know. You're a 1. I don't know this.
Well, if she,
but you dismissed it.
Natalie, Natalie, you have to have some kind of idea as to what he is. Do you? Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
I don't remember all the numbers. I'd have to go back.
That's okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Can we Google it? Should we do it on the air?
No.
no,
Yeah.
the online assessments are very questionable. So I'm going to just tell you, if you really want to know your personality type, you probably need to talk to me or some other professional, and I won't charge you for it.
All right. Well, so, there you go. All right.
But you see, each one of those types has particular gifts and strengths, and once you know what that is, you use it. You don't have to go out and develop it. It's a part of your person. It's already there.
Right.
And so that's where when I'm coaching the magicians and anybody else that comes to me, that's where I go. I say, look, let's look at who you really are. Let's discover who you are. And like some of the assessments I took years ago, I would look down and go, that's why I do that. I never understood why I did this or how I felt this way when things would happen. And it's just, let me tell you, it raises your awareness and your consciousness to the point where everything is beautiful. Everything, you just fit into everything. I'm getting sort of woo-woo here.
You're not woo-woo because we're right with you, man. And this is the month for woo-woo. We just had a Halloween episode where we talked about ghosts and spirits. So we can get woo-woo if you want.
Okay.
It's going where it's going, man. It's just a conversation. So she used it for her health coaching business. You just lost a bunch of weight. Can you use it for weight loss? Do you say that's
it naturally comes. Okay, here's what's happening. I'm 70 years old now, and I have poor circulation in my legs, and it got so bad I lost my big toe. They had to cut it off. Now I'm not diabetic, but it was still bad in my legs. So I was suffering, and you asked me a while ago. You saw me pictures of me sitting during my show, and that was part of the reason why, is because I couldn't stand the whole show. But now, since I've shifted, and I started taking these supplements, and I'm doing better. I don't have to do that anymore. But I do sit down because I want to communicate with the kids on our level. Now, I was having pain, inflammation in my body, my shoulders, my hips, and it wasn't arthritis, it was inflammation. And some people call it a diagnosis of fibromyalgia, and it's all caused by diet. It's all in your diet. So I found this doctor online, and Dr. Berry, and he was talking about the carnivore diet. And I was very skeptical because here's what it comes down to. 7 years ago, I decided to become a vegetarian because I didn't want to eat the meat that I was seeing that they were injecting a lot of the antibiotics and things, hormones into the animals. I didn't want to eat that meat, so I stopped eating the meat. Well, now you can buy that meat that's not been injected with antibiotics. You can find it in the stores. You couldn't 7 years ago, but now you can. I have various places I go. I get all my eggs, my bacon, and my beef and my chicken, all that. None of it's been injected with antibiotics and hormone stuff. And so I decided, well, I'm going to try this diet. So carnivore diet is an all meat diet. So you give up a lot of stuff. But let me tell you, I tried it for 2 weeks. When the pain went away, that was it. That was it. I'm hooked. Now the weight loss is just the sideline thing, you know. So yeah, I got up to almost 400 pounds in weight, and so now I've lost 50 in the last 6 months. But it's naturally happens when you eat the meat and you're not consuming carbohydrates or sugar.
You said
That can of
50.
Mountain Dew there, you
It's diet. It's diet Mountain
didn't
Dew.
make any difference.
Hey, listen. You said 50 though, right? Not 15. You said 50.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
50.
I got to turn my hearing aid up. What'd you say?
50.
What about 50 pounds?
50 pounds. God bless
Yeah, I've
you.
lost
That is
50 pounds.
awesome.
Yeah, they tell me at the rate I'm going, by another 6 months I'll be down 100 pounds.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because what happens is your body's now burning the fat in your body, and my arms are thinner, my face is thinner, and I have more mobility, and I fit in things. Now my clothes are just now starting to come loose, you know. Hey,
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, Natalie lost 70. I lost 50 recently.
wow.
We're right there with you, man. Yeah, we
Yeah.
ballooned up. She had twins. And then the pandemic, we were eating junk food.
Yeah.
We were on starvation mode. And we
were
had twins.
not starvation.
We were in panic mode for the twins. So we were
Survival.
we were eating, baked lasagna and pizza every night for dinner.
Oh, I love lasagna.
Just throw
I
it in the
love
oven.
pizza, but no more.
But we were buying that processed food in bulk at Sam's Club because we have twins that are keeping us up 24 hours a day.
Well, that's where I get some of my. Sam Clubs offers the non-antibiotic injected hormone meat.
Awesome.
You have to look for it, but they got it. The other thing I was going to say about that, when I forgot what it was. You alluded to something there that.
Well, it was also the price. We were unemployed with twins, so that bulk family style lasagna is only $5 for the
Yeah, but you know what? I thought, I pay a little bit more for the meat. Oh, I know what it was. I pay more for the meat, but I don't eat as much. I eat only a breakfast and basically a dinner. Then I snack on beef sticks, these things. And in fact, if these here, these are non-antibiotic, beef sticks. And I'm fine. I don't get hungry. That's another thing about it. I don't get hungry.
Well,
I never thought, I always hated dieting because you get hungry.
Yeah. You're satiated. The meat has that thing to cut you off to make you satiated.
It does.
Yeah.
I didn't believe him at first, but I thought I'm going to try this and see, and it worked. So
that's awesome.
Good.
That's awesome.
And then I found out I've got several friends who are doing the same thing, and I didn't tell them anything about it. So it's an oncoming thing, a new trend.
Yeah.
Well, with you sitting down at a show, I didn't know about the loss of the toe, and I didn't know about the circulation. And I'm from outside. Like I said, I know of you, but we don't know each other. I've seen your lectures and things, and I was like, God bless him. He's injured. He's hurt. Maybe it's arthritis. I don't know what it is, but he's still working. That's all I want. I hate to see a magician just give up on life and give up on what they love because they can't go through it.
That's true.
So performing seated, you're still performing. God bless you, sharing that talent, sharing that love. So that's where I was coming from on my end. I was like, all right, can I ask about it? Because I wasn't sure. Yeah, that's great, man. So you said before we started that you had, besides the health benefits and all this stuff, that you were developing a little bit of arthritis. A lot of my older magician friends, I've told them about the finger fitness. You can look it up on YouTube and see the videos, or go to Greg Irwin's website and get the finger fitness stuff. It's exercises for your fingers. He developed it for piano. You know about it, right?
Right.
Yeah. So what did you have for the arthritis people out there? So here's magicians, but
I have a friend of mine who is into natural foods and so forth. And he said, why don't you try this powder? It's called moringa powder. And he has a moringa tree in his yard. Down here in Florida, they grow frequently. But the ones I buy through the health food store. It's cheap. It's inexpensive. It comes in a packet. And it's green. And if you just eat it by itself, it's kind of nasty tasting. It's not flavorful. But I mix it in with my eggs with a little bit of mustard. There's no sugar in the mustard, and I take a spoonful of that every day, and I don't have the problem with most of my arthritis is in my back, and I do have it in my hands somewhat. But I'm telling you, you take this stuff and it somehow neutralizes the acidic, whatever it is that causes the arthritis. It's natural. It's called moringa powder.
So with arthritis in your fingers, I understand that. What happens when it's in your back? Do you become stiff? Is it hard to move?
Wes, the pain. Before the pain was coming on, the pain like I've never experienced before. It's like electrical pain. It's not like your stomach ache. It's like boom, this in your back. I can't explain it. And my brother has it going down his arm and he's got his shoulder. He's got his neck. Yeah, it's not fun. You know, I didn't know, you know, what that pain was like until it came on. It freaked me out at first.
Wow.
So now I don't have to. But if I don't take the moringa powder, it'll start showing up again.
And you said get that at health food stores? I mean, you
Yeah,
can get off.
I order mine online because I found a place. You want me to divulge where I get mine? I get from All Star Health.
Okay.
They have the best prices. They deliver within a short amount of time. All Star Health is what it's called, and that's where I get mine, along with all my other supplements.
Wow.
And there are several other things in here I take. They're all natural that help me keep moving, you know, and thinking. You know.
So
That's good though. I like that you do the all natural instead of a lot of people just go to the doctor and end up popping pills. It's like, oh my goodness, if you can find an alternative.
I told you I worked in the medical field. I found out a long time ago that doctors practice medicine. They didn't perfect it.
So what is your background in medicine? Because you said you had a real job that long, inch long. What was your real job? What did you go to school for?
My mother was a nurse.
Okay.
So I became a male nurse.
Okay.
Wow.
I was a nurse, and I worked in emergency room. When you work in emergency room, you see everything, you know.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of schooling to just
Well,
give
no,
up.
yes and no, but you know, yeah, and money. I don't recommend it for everybody. It's not for everybody. I do recommend it if you're a 2 type on the Enneagram.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's your personalities that go along with certain job applications, you know. So,
Yeah.
you know, not for everybody, but you know, it leans that way, you know.
Well, there's something else on your resume that I was taking notes here, that you worked comedy clubs. That's something that I've always wanted to do. I've never done it. There's not really many in Virginia here.
This is a weird story. Yeah, I was working with a friend of mine who owned, his wife ran the comedy club, and we had opportunities to do a show, and it was okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. We had good audiences and so forth, but it didn't take very long before I realized that was not really my crowd. In fact, in recent years, I've done a few open mics just to go out and try a new trick or something to see what happened. Because at one time, I had a show, for 3 years, I had a show where we had magicians and comics. And we booked them in. So we would do magic and comedy both, you know. And so I became friends with the people in the comedy business. But when I went to a comedy club to try to do it, I never really seemed to fit in. But I don't know what's going on. Just recently, I've been invited to start performing at a comedy night at another club, and they just booked me for the 4th time once again. And why they like me, I don't know. The world's going through different changes and cultures, you know. And I mean, some of the comics I'm seeing in the comic club, they're not funny to me, you know. But you know, so each his own, you know. So, but I do a lot of visual magic, a lot of gag bits. Look at this. I just caught these cockroaches here in Florida. They're getting out of hand. Look at these things.
That's huge.
I do stuff like that, and but I also tell stories, and you know, I have my routines. I do, you know, so, and I do a little bit of prop. I don't do a lot of prop magic, but I'm not afraid to use props in my comedy shows in a comedy club, and for some reason they're appreciated. Look, you won't get this, but some of your people in the audience will. I go, oh look, I was with a date the other night. Look, I got cooties.
I get it.
This is the old cooties game from when I was a kid.
Wow.
And I put springs on it so I can collapse it into my hand. So I reach inside somebody's jacket or in my jacket, and I pull out. Oh no, I got cooties.
That's cute.
That's
you
awesome.
probably don't even know what the cooties are, but when I was a kid, that was a big thing. Girls had cooties.
Oh,
Boys had cooties. You know.
We did. Yeah, you did cootie shots.
Tell them what the cootie
You
shot
have
is.
cootie shot. What is it? Circle, circle,
Dot dot.
dot, dot. Now you have a cootie shot. Yeah. So
Okay.
that would take away the cooties.
I didn't
from
know
any
that.
boy would touch you and it's cool. Yeah. Do it on your hand. Circle, circle, dot, dot. Now you got a cootie shot.
I'm Italian. Girls never
By the
had
way,
cooties.
see my painting of the rabbit back here?
I see the
My
rabbit.
rabbit?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I painted that
Oh,
Wow. That's
because
cool.
I asked people how far down the rabbit hole you want to go. I'm a big
Oh.
fan. I'm a big fan of the movie The Matrix. So because
Nice.
I believe that we're living in a matrix, but that's my theory.
Well, here we got a couple more minutes. Tell me about that.
Oh, you want to hear about that?
Yeah, I want to hear your theory.
You want to hear what I believe about that?
Oh, yeah. Let's go crazy. It's October.
Okay, we're going to go crazy. I'm putting it out there. I told you I don't hold back anymore. I've come to conclusion throughout my life, and part of this had to do when I worked in the emergency room, because people would come in who should have died and they lived. Other people came in, they should have lived and they died. And I couldn't figure out why this was happening because of all the people I was seeing coming and going. So I started paying attention. What is death about? What is this world that we're in right now? What is it about? Well, I've come to the conclusion, first thing, there is no such thing as accidental death. You don't leave until it's your time. No question about it. That's my opinion. And you, right now, what I'm looking at is an avatar. It's not the real you. The real you is another dimension. So we're living in a virtual reality, just like they did in the movie Avatar. That's what this is. We're avatars. But we're here to have this experience. We're here to be an expression. And we're still connected to that higher person, the person out in another dimension. And they are cooperating with us. Most people don't listen through your heart and through the pineal gland to who that is or what that is. Okay, that was a brief. I can tell I'm looking at your faces.
Yeah. So what happens when you die? Do you go
Is
to
the
that
game
other?
over?
Let me tell you, I've listened to many stories of people who died and came back, and most of the ones I'm hearing are experiencing the same thing. So, different people have different scenarios. Here's the book I recommend. It's called The Afterlife of Billy Fingers. Go read that book. And then there's another one called Proof of Heaven, about a doctor who died and came back. And so their stories are very similar in some sense. And, you're far more conscious than you are here. Here we experience all the conflict and the pain.
Yeah.
But in the other dimensions, it doesn't exist. That's why we come here. We send ourselves here to have this experience.
Huh. Okay.
And that's my opinion.
No, hey.
I was raised a Christian, and I still adhere to a lot of my Christian beliefs. I don't believe everything that the religions teach, but I'm probably more of a Buddhist, but I've never studied Buddhism. But it's what I've been taught by the Holy Spirit within me. See, that spirit within me and in you, that's the Holy Spirit that Jesus talked about, and that's that connection to your higher self.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well,
we just jumped all over the place, didn't we?
This has been a roller coaster of an episode, and thanks partly to my sponsor.
No, I like it. I like the theory. It's kind of like it's very parallel to believing in heaven and everything else too. So that's why I was asking, what do you think when you die? Because I believe in heaven. I believe.
Oh yeah. You want to hear the people? Well, go watch the movie What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams.
Okay.
That's a great movie. Now, it's a little distorted about the truth, but it opens your mind.
Yeah.
I love Robin Williams. I haven't seen that one.
No,
Have you seen it? Yeah. No.
Oh, it's a great movie. What Dreams May Come.
Yeah. So you will take on clients, but you do reciprocity. Just take care of you. If you take care of me, take care of each other. They get a hold of you by finding you on Facebook. If you want to take on
any way you can. I mean, I have a website. It's called I've one that's as a magician. It's the Magic Comedy Show or magicianstevehart.com. But I also have my website that I'm building for magicians. So it's called Magic2Motivate.com. So magic2motivate.com, and that's where I got all my products because I've created a lot of products. Did you know I was the guy that invented the bird shoe trick?
The bird shoe trick.
Where you borrow a kid's tennis shoe and put it in a box and you burn
Bird.
it up?
Bird.
It's called Whiz Coat.
No, yes, Whiz Coat. Yes, I did not
That was
know
my
you
trick.
did
Yeah, that's just one of my many tricks on the market. But like I said, I never became popular. I never.
that. Wow. So
I'm the guy behind the scenes.
Didn't David Copperfield do that in one of his specials?
No, it wasn't David. It was Lance Burton.
Okay,
Oh, nice.
okay.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
David came that close, but I pulled back because when David gets a hold of a trick, he doesn't want you to perform it anymore for a while.
Yeah.
I was warned by the people around him not to do that, and that's fine. But Copperfield did it, but he did his own version of it. Jim Steinmeier was involved and asked me for permission for them to do it, and and I got paid for that.
That's
Lance
awesome.
is a great guy. I've known Lance many years.
We're working on getting Lance on the podcast. It's
now's a good time to do it. He's retired, but
that's one of
he
my
says he's
favorite.
retired, but he's still out doing shows.
He's still making appearances at Abbott's. He's still going around. He's got a tour bus now.
He's a great kid. Go Kentucky boy.
Yeah. Dude, this has been so much fun. Thank you. We'll have to have you come back next time.
Oh, I'd love to come back. I'd love to show you some of the stuff I'm working on. The different if there are magicians watching, I have all kinds of these ideas that are popping into my head, and I'm having trouble finding people to make them for me. I can't find builders. They'll make maybe 2 or 3, but they don't want to make a dozen or 2. And so yeah. And then I take a trick like I showed you the other day with the crazy crayon thing.
Okay.
And added the spring snakes to it. I'm always taking something that's out there and adapting it and changing it around and make it more, than what it is. So
have you went to the 3D printing route to get them to make you?
No, I'm not a 3D printer. No, I have a friend who does, but no. Why are you asking?
Well, if you need props made.
Oh no, most of the props I have are that I'm talking about are wooden props.
Okay.
Like here's an example: the sucker die box. I don't use a die. Mine is a gift box. So the story is I'm hiding the gift. I got a gift from my girlfriend or from my kids. I'm hiding. They're trying to find it, and at the end of the trick, obviously, it's found in wherever you hid it first place. Then you open it up and take out what's inside. So the whole bit is it's not a die anymore; it's a gift box. So I had somebody building those, but the guy quit making them. So now I got to find someone else.
Well, I have that magician's page. I have 22,700 members. Let me know. Give me the idea or print a video, and we'll find somebody that can send you in the right direction.
Oh, that's just one. I probably got at least a dozen tricks I need built right now. Oh, here's one. Let me show you this one. I'm so sad that the builder who built this is no longer building this. Look at this. Look at this.
Wow.
You seen this?
Yeah.
Boom! Ah! Whoa! Where'd that come from?
Do you see the holes missing? Yeah.
And I reach through here and I pull out stuff out of it. So, but I don't have anybody making this.
Wow.
I made like 20 of these. And we sold them all, and I can't find another builder. Now this is not wood. That's not wood. That's a foam plastic type device.
Yeah.
That's just another example.
Dude, this has been awesome. We covered so much. We talked marketing. We talked health.
Oh yeah, you took me all. I don't get this very often. I didn't know what was going to happen today, but you took me from there to there, and I'm not done yet.
We will definitely get you back because I'm having a blast.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Yeah.
And magic2motivate.com. Check out Steve Hart online, and
Right.
I think that's about everything. The only thing we have left to say is see you next week.
Yeah. Thanks.
Check us out online at wesiseli.com and patreon.com/Wes_Iseli for behind-the-scenes videos, blooper videos, never-before-seen footage, discounts on merchandise, magic trick tutorials, and more. That's Wes Iseli, spelled WESISELI.